Hey guys, it's Lisa here. If you're new to my channel or this is the first video you're watching, my name is Lisa. This is a beauty and style channel, but I also recently launched a brand coaching business, meaning I help women, female entrepreneurs, build beautiful brands online. What that means in a nutshell is that I help people figure stuff out on the internet so they can grow their businesses. So the topic of this video is, are you an entrepreneur? And so one of the things that I offer as a brand coach is what I call clarity calls. And so they're absolutely free. I have a link below if you want to sign up for one. And it's an opportunity to talk to me about your business goals or aspirations. And then we can see if we're fit and if you want to continue with coaching with me. And also it allows me to know if I'm the right coach for you. Essentially, I've had the opportunity to talk to so many, and I've only set up these clarity calls now. I think it's only been about 2 weeks, but I have literally had conversations with women every single day of the week since I set them up. And it's been I get so energized talking to female entrepreneurs because I am an entrepreneur at heart. And so, in that being said, I think there are a lot of individuals who think they may be entrepreneurs, who may not be entrepreneurs, or may not be entrepreneurs yet. You aren't necessarily born an entrepreneur. It takes time to get there, and some people need a little bit of guidance to get there, and some people are just not entrepreneurs. And so this video is really to kind of help people figure out where they fit, okay? And this is just my sense of things, and I welcome your thoughts, and I encourage you to comment below and letting me know what you think an entrepreneur is. And so for me, the first thing that comes to mind is the word risks. Entrepreneurs take risks, but I believe we take smart risks. So that being said, I don't encourage anybody to walk into their office and be like, F you, I'm getting the hell out of here, I'm not about this life, deuces. Like, no, okay? Ultimately, what you want to do is be a risk taker, but a smart risk taker, meaning you have a plan, like you have a clear sense of what you want to do and the goals you want to accomplish. So if you're an entrepreneur, you do have to take risks. You're not playing it safe. So this means you're not building your business while you're working full-time, keeping your full-time 9-to-5 job. That may not necessarily be the case. And I know there are people who do that. That was not it for me. I tried to do that for years, okay? I really did. And I didn't grow because I could not devote the attention and the care required to build a business. And not being able to do that caused me to suffer. I suffered at my full-time job. I wasn't great there. I wasn't great at building my own brand. And so nothing worked. And so I made the decision to leave my full-time job and not pursue any other opportunities in the corporate world. And I made sacrifices. I cut back on, we sold one of our cars. We are living in a 1-bedroom apartment that was owned by my parents. Like, real talk, we made those sacrifices because I am 100% committed to this process. So if you're not the kind of person who's willing to forego the comforts that you have necessarily, you may not be an entrepreneur, okay? Which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Let's talk investment, okay? So one of the things that I've noticed is that there are a lot of women who want to be entrepreneurs and want to be entrepreneurs online, who may or may not be entrepreneurs based on this whole idea of investment. And so the allure of starting an online business is because essentially the internet is free. It feels free, right? Because you have the internet, you have a computer, you feel like you have everything you need to set up your business. But the reality is just like somebody who's setting up a brick and mortar business, meaning they're renting a space and they're selling things in an actual location, you need to invest in not necessarily the same way, but you do have to invest certainly in running a successful business. Sure, there are those people who manage to set up shop online completely solo and figure it all out. I don't know who these people are, but maybe they exist. Or there is this perception that that's what happens. But the reality is, to run a show or your own show, meaning to be a full-time entrepreneur, you really can't do it on your own, and you absolutely absolutely have to invest the right way. And so for me, that investment meant camera equipment, because video marketing is key for me. But that's me. That's not necessarily your thing. So camera equipment, I'm getting a new laptop tomorrow. I'm getting a new lens tomorrow. And I have a business coach that I pay every single month. And these things are not cheap. These things are not cheap. Let me be clear. But if you are an entrepreneur, you recognize that you have to invest to make a return. You cannot make money without spending money. And you cannot be cheap about it, because this is your business. Where you cut corners, and we all cut a little bit of corners here and there, but that stuff comes to bite you in the butt. You know what I'm saying? You want to get a cheap website, you're going to get a cheap website, and folks aren't going to want to come in and hang out and click and buy your stuff if your website. I believe beautiful branding is key. You have to look the part, absolutely. But more than that, you have to know what you're doing. And if you don't have an MBA and you're new to the area, you don't know it, you better be buying yourself some books, you better be registering in some classes, and you get a mentor, a coach, a consultant, somebody to get it off the ground, because doing it alone is just not part of the process. There are individuals who are enrolling all the time in a program called B School by Marie Farleo, who used to do brand and business coaching, much like what I do. And she now runs classes, she now runs B School, and people are going off making hundreds and thousands of dollars after taking her course. This is a $2,000 course that people are paying. Now, and I am not a financial advisor. I cannot tell you where to get this money. I'm not gonna share where I got the money to pay for some of these things. But needless to say, investment is part of the process. So if you are not prepared to make an investment in your future, then maybe being an entrepreneur is not, and that is okay. But it's something to consider. If you're an entrepreneur, that's part of the process. So the next thing that comes to mind is a plan. And so, like I mentioned to you before, and I've mentioned this several times, is I had a plan when I left my job. And so I started working with a coach or consultant 3 months prior to my last day at work. I had been doing research, I'd been reading books, taking webinars, and all of these things. And so when I made that plan, or when I made that jump, or rather that leap of faith, I certainly had a plan. And I'll share with you what my end goal is, because I believe in speaking things into existence, right? And so my end goal is to create to have my own creative consulting company. So I want people to drive up in a hoopty or a jalopy and then drive off in a fully loaded luxury vehicle. And that is in terms of your online presence. So I want people who maybe don't know how to run a website, build a website. I want to take care of everything from coaching for you, from social media management to web design. It's going to be a one-stop shop. That is the vision I have for my business and how to go forward, and that's my goal for 2016. So I've got some time to get there, but not a whole lot of time. But that's what it takes. You cannot jump into this stuff not knowing anything, not knowing what you want to do. It's a process. And sometimes you're not fully there yet. Sometimes you have a coach or a consultant, whomever, who helps you kind of develop that idea and build that plan and get that stuff in motion. But it's part of a long-term process. And so I absolutely believe if you are an entrepreneur, you have a plan, you have an end goal that is clear as day, okay? And if you don't, you're working with somebody to help you get that, to get to that end goal. So a plan is certainly important. The other thing that comes to mind when it comes to entrepreneurs is knowing your worth. So here's the difference between an entrepreneur and maybe somebody who works a full-time job or likes that. Because my parents, God bless them, they're that type, you know. So for instance, I said to my cousin who has like a PhD, and he's no shade, this is what I remember saying this to him at some point, he has a PhD, young guy, he's got a PhD in something, and he works for a company, you know, it's a medical something. And I said, well, why wouldn't you run your own thing? And he just balked at it. He just balked at it. But here, because people get, you know, here's the thing. He probably makes a fabulous salary at this place, right? Let's just say it's 100, I don't know, but let's just say it's 100 grand a year, right? If a company is paying you 100 grand a year, 9 times out of 10, you are worth at least double, 3 times that. Because you're an investment for them. Do you understand what I'm saying? They stand to make, because of your involvement, okay, because of your involvement, they stand to make a profit off of you and the work that you do. So entrepreneurs understand that. They're like, wait a minute, why am I doing this for you when I could do this for me and take all this money my damn self? Point in case. So I used to be a Stella and Dot stylist. I used to sell Stella and Dot jewelry. Those of you remember, I launched that, last year? I lasted all but 2 months, okay? And when I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm over here selling this jewelry, schlepping this crap, buying wine for parties and all this, whatever, and I'm taking home 20%? No. Like, that's crazy to me. That was crazy to me. And that's when I knew, and the thing is with, no shade to multi-level marketing companies, because some of them are great and people really do well in multi-level marketing companies, and they like the security. But multi-level marketing companies, I feel, kind of play on that. They let people think they're their own boss. They sell you that. They sell you your own boss, you do your whatever, yeah, da 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 da. But they're making the lion's share of the profit. And you maybe are making some. You know, they give you some perks and all that stuff, but you're not taking home the value you're putting in. And so entrepreneurs, real entrepreneurs, understand that. And so they're not going to be played. They're not going to be taken for a ride. So they're not about the 9-to-5 life working for somebody else, taking home a fraction of their worth. We know our worth. And so because of that, we're willing to go on a limb. We're willing to take that risk and do it for ourselves and land on our feet, because that's what we do, okay? And so the next thing that comes to mind is patience. So being an entrepreneur means being patient. So it's understanding that there's an ebb and flow to this, and that there are going to be days where you're not making all the money that you want to be making. There are going to be days that you're just flat and you're not feeling necessarily that growth. But you recognize that these get-rich-quick things that people talk about, I don't know how real they are, to be honest. There really is no get rich quick. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the work. So entrepreneurs definitely recognize that it is not an overnight success, it's not an overnight whatever, and that there's work involved in the process. And so there is a ton of patience. But I also have to say that entrepreneurs aren't, like, we're not stupid. Do you get what I'm saying? So the sense that, so for me, I have no problem getting a part-time side hustle to plump things up until things take off. That's smart. That's part of the smart risk taking. Are you going to like 100% devote yourself to a company and have them kind of relying on you to do this? No, you're not going to do that, because you're building you and that's your primary focus. But you are going to do other things to make things work out for you, because you want to be able to really endure this and have the patience that's required to be successful. You cannot. So the last thing I want to talk about in terms of entrepreneurs is faith. So there are a million different things you can call this, right? A million different things you can call this. Some individuals call it faith. Some individuals call it, like, they are all about, like, The Secret. If you've ever read The Secret, they're all about The Secret and the success of The Secret. But let me just give you a story. So my best, and I maybe already told you this, but it comes to mind a lot. So bear with me if you've already heard this story. So about a week after I left my job, my best friend came home, and we're in the car and we're driving, and she's talking. She said, well, how's it going? And I'm just saying to her, and I'm like, well, it's going fine. It just happened like 2 days ago, so we're getting there. But one of the things that I said to her was like, this is gonna work out. And I don't say it like, it's not bullshit to me. Like, I believe it. So she says to me, I'm like, this is gonna work out, because you know what? Here's what I've done in my life. I went to undergraduate school, and I double majored, and I had a concentration. Double majored English and journalism, and I had a concentration in creative writing. So I did that 4 years, bam. Then I went and I worked, I became a manager, and while doing that full-time, I also went to graduate school full-time and secured a Master of Fine Arts, which is a terminal master's degree. And I say this because it's higher than a master's. I have a right to say that, okay? It's a step up from a master's. And so it's a terminal master's degree. It's the highest degree you can get in your field, okay? So I did that. I got a terminal master's degree from Sarah Lawrence College, an amazing, amazing college, amazing school, known for their writing. Alice Walker went there, Barbara Walters went there. So just to give you some reference points. I did that, right? Then continued to work, then got some job in higher ed and continued to work in higher ed and did all these things. But in all of this time, I was at no point making the money. Oh, and I got fired. I never told you guys. That's another story for another day, but I got fired from this one job that I had for like 2 months. A long story that I'll share with you in another conversation, but it's part of my whole story. So I got fired. I did all this stuff. I'm smart. I'm capable. I have tons of skills. Okay, tons. And nothing worked out. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. I didn't have all this money. I didn't have, like, there was nothing that was measuring up in terms of what I know to be true of myself. Like, I'm not, like, I am smart. Like, I'm smart. I just have to say that. I'm sorry, it is what it is, but I'm smart. And so, being a smart person and having all the skills and talent I have, it's weird to me that I hadn't been successful playing it straight, doing all the things, going to graduate school, working, doing all these things, teaching, doing tutoring, right, working, all these extra jobs, and that I still wasn't successful is an indication to me that none of that stuff is my path. None of that stuff is my destiny. None of that stuff is what I was supposed to be doing to get, because I feel when you do what you're supposed to be doing, it works out. Do you know what I'm saying? It's your path, it's what it works out for you. But it was never working out for me. So it would have been lunacy. It would have been the definition of insanity to continue on that journey of doing all these things the right way, only to still never be getting it. That would have been crazy. So when I sit there, I was like, this is gonna work out. Being my own boss, running my own creative company, working as a consultant and a coach for other individuals who want to build themselves online is my destiny, is the way it's supposed to be working. And she says to me, and I love my best friend, so it's not even, no shade, but she says to me, she's like, oh, that's a good way of thinking of things. And I don't know, she may not be an entrepreneur because I'm not thinking of things. And I'm sorry, I'm getting excited, I'm spitting everywhere. This is not a thought. This is the truth. I am telling you and anybody you better watch me. You watch me. And that's all I gotta say. So if you're an entrepreneur, that's the way you operate. You don't give a damn. The outside noise is outside noise, okay? You're gonna work your ass off. It may take years to do it, but you're gonna work your ass off because you see it. You see what other people can't see. You feel it. You have that, you call it whatever. I call it faith because I believe in faith. I believe in God. I believe it. But that's me, but you can call it whatever you want to call it, okay? Call it whatever you want to call it. But if you're a real-time entrepreneur, it's like this thing, like you feel that, you feel it. And that's where I'm going with this. That's the truth about entrepreneurism or entrepreneurship. That's the truth of the matter. You have faith in yourself. You have faith in yourself. You understand that you have to invest. You understand there are risks. But you take smart risks. And you have a plan of action. And that's what it takes to be an entrepreneur. That is what I believe an entrepreneur is. And if you're an entrepreneur, I got you. I got you. If you're an entrepreneur that wants to set up an online business, let me be clear, I got you. So here's what you can do is you can click the link below and you get right onto my calendar. You set up a clarity call with me and I can see and we can see if we want to work together one-on-one. I'm going to be offering a ton of other resources for you as well because I do understand that coaching is a premium service and it's not within everyone's budget yet. Although if you're an entrepreneur, you better find it in your budget to eventually, may not be today, but eventually work with a coach or a consultant to get your business off the ground. That's just, it doesn't even have to be me. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. And so, yeah, so you can set up a clarity call with me and we can talk and see if you want to work together or how we wanted to work together. If you're an individual who has a blog or you have a YouTube channel and you want reviews, I do that too. I do blog reviews, I do YouTube video reviews because video marketing is really going to be one of the things that I focus on when I'm going to be running some courses as well, some online courses, webinars, all of that stuff about making videos on YouTube and all that fun stuff. And so if you want a review of your website or blog, review of your video, all that stuff we can do too. But just again, set up a call with me via the link below, or go to my website, lisajeanfrancois.com, and we can talk soon. You know where I am. I'm always around. All my contact information is below in the information box. And let me know your thoughts about entrepreneurism. If you're an entrepreneur, what are your thoughts about everything that I've had to say? I want to hear it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.